On today's episode of Locked On NHL, Dean Evison out as head coach of the Columbus Blue Jackets. Rick Bowness, older version of the same.
You're Locked On NHL, your daily podcast on the National Hockey League. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, I'm Seth Toupal. Welcome to Locked On NHL, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, the number one sports podcast network. Locked On NHL is your daily podcast on the National Hockey League. We are your team each and every day, and we thank you for making Locked On NHL your first listen each and every day as well. Make sure you subscribe on all of your favorite podcast platforms so you don't miss out on any new episodes throughout the week. On today's episode of Locked On NHL, we react to the big news that Dean Evason has been relieved of his duties by the Columbus Blue Jackets. We'll look at whether or not Rick Bowness is a good choice to replace him or if he just brings much of the same. And we will take a look at who may be next in the Eastern and Western conferences. My name is Seth Toupal, host of Locked On Wilds, joined by JD Young of Locked On Sharks. And JD, one of the first big coaching dismissals has occurred. And it's not the one that anybody expected.
Nope. Did not have this on the old bingo card here, having Dean Evason being the coach fired right now, because especially with, like, you look back at last year, and our good friend Jay from Locked On Blue Jackets spoke about how he was the right coach for this team last year, especially after just the horrific tragedy this team experienced last year, right? This team that a lot of us, myself included, thought might be one of the worst teams in the NHL, just misses the playoffs last year. And like, you thought, like, okay, great vibes. How is this team going to build? And this year it has just fallen apart for them, just constantly blowing third period leads and just underperforming this entire Blue Jackets team, people regressing. And it just felt like, I guess it felt like they had to do something, maybe just for the sake of doing something. And we know in hockey, the easiest thing to do is just swap out coaches, because we see it all the time.
Since November 1st, the Columbus Blue Jackets are 13, 15, and 7.
Not great.
Not good at all. The only teams that have worse point totals than them in that span are the New Jersey Devils, the Anaheim Ducks, the Ottawa Senators, the Utah Mammoth, the Vancouver Canucks, and the only team that is not won double-digit games in that span, the Winnipeg Jets,
who just recently were on like 11-game losing streak or something like that. Yeah. So a team we might be talking about here in a little bit. I was, to be honest, a little bit shocked Monday afternoon when you get the old Elliot Friedman retweet there, notification that this happened. And I know, like I said, our friend Jay, I think, was also a little bit shocked as well to see it. But again, like this Blue Jackets team, right? It has so much young talent. You have one of the best defensemen in the NHL with Zach Werenski, who is putting up Norris-like numbers once again this year. You have Adam Fantilli, who I think is one of the best young centermen in the NHL. But you're just not seeing this growth from this team. And I think they had to make some sort of move here.
Yeah, this was just a situation where it felt like they needed to just kind of shake this roster up. Like, make no mistake about it, Dean Evason did a good job of pulling as much as he could out of that Blue Jackets team last year. You know, they were in it pretty much all the way until the final couple of games of the season, and they just didn't have enough juice to get over what occurred at the beginning of the season, obviously, with Johnny and Matthew Gaudreau. But it was admirable. We said, hey, he did as good of a job as you possibly could have in that situation. But it's clear that this Columbus team wants to get to the top of the hill. They want to get to the top of the mountain, and this was kind of
not that guy, is he?
Yeah,
not that guy.
As somebody who had a chance to watch Dean Evason as head coach, He has a particular system that he runs. He has a particular set of skills, particular way in which he does a lot of things that can get you to a certain point, but you're not probably going to be able to get over that mountain.
Yeah.
So here we are. And the new choice, which I think if you would have just showed me the fact that that Dean Evison got relieved of his duties, I would have probably just assumed that the first call was Pete DeBoer. No. Rick Bowness back in the NHL after getting a little time in the NHL on TNT studios. Rick Bowness now back behind the bench. And so let's dive into that a little bit here, JD. Could this be the type of galvanizing move that this Columbus Blue Jackets team needs, or is this just kind of more of the same?
More of the same? Question mark? Like, that's how it feels to me, where it's like, this doesn't feel like a long-term solution. This feels like a bridge solution while you try to find somebody else long-term. Like, if you told me by the summer that like, I don't know how long of a contract he signed, but like, if you told me by the summer that they're looking to, replace him, would you be shocked if Rick Bowness came out of retirement to coach the rest of the season, and then that way they can do maybe a more thorough coaching job, especially when you see some people move out? Maybe you can kind of try to talk Pete DeBoer, or if Sheldon Keefe comes free or something like that. Maybe that's what you try to do there, but. This kind of feels like you're just trying to patch things over and see if you can catch some sort of lightning in a bottle for a team that desperately needs some sort of juice here.
Yeah, and Rick he just seems like more of a veteran coach. No, like you're throwing him in with a very young roster, and it's one thing to have a substitute teacher that can really restore order and can really kind of get everybody in line.
Yeah.
But I don't know. He seems like an extension of kind of what Dean Evison was trying to do. And I think at the end of the day, I think there just is some more work that needs to be done on this roster.
Yeah. This roster, but like the weird thing is, like, you look at like all the players that they like drafted and developed, like Kent Johnson's like a top 5 pick that has just not been able to solidify his game. Adam Fantilli, like I talked about, like you see this players from the same class, of course, Connor Bedard, but then like Leo Carlson is picked right ahead of him, even Will Smith, who was picked right after him. And, some of the other players, like, just, it feels like they're just kind of taking bigger steps than what Fantilli has done. This roster, I don't know what it is, like, because you look at some of the, like, you're like, oh, this is great. Like, I like Cole Silger, I like Kent Johnson when he was coming out, but it's just, they've not been able to find that right mix of veteran and young players, and young players haven't progressed enough. And that's probably why Dean Evison isn't here, because players like Fantilli haven't progressed enough. And when you compare to some of the other, players of the same age and same ilk, it feels like you should be getting more. Like, why isn't Adam Fantilli one of the better, like faces of the franchise type of players? And I still think Fantilli can be, but I think it comes down to, I think a lot of it with the coach and with the scheme and who they're putting around him.
Yeah. And, the other thing too, is they have never had an answer in the net. They have never had a consistent answer in the net. I mean, Jet Greaves has done pretty well since December 1st, but you look at Elvis Merzlikins, who was supposed to be the guy, and his numbers are abysmal.
Yeah, that poor guy. He's never the same after. I know, just a franchise, just so much tragedy around this poor franchise. It feels like you found some sort of answer with Jet Greaves. You spent big money on your defense, bringing back Provorov this summer. And, like I said, you have Zach Werenski, who is literally one of the best defensemen. I feel like he's underrated because he just doesn't get the shine that he deserves. This team just, for some reason, it feels like they just can't get out of their own way.
Yeah, that's a very apt summary of the current state of affairs for the Columbus Blue Jackets, or as I'll call them now, Winnipeg. Is it
South,
east, south,
South,
southeast? I don't know.
South is pretty fair. Like that's a pretty safe assumption from Winnipeg.
Yeah.
Just say
You
South.
can't get much further north than that.
Yeah. Just
Then again, it's in like southern Winnipeg is just it's slightly above North Dakota. Like it's not crazy northern Canada. So I don't know. I'm not a geographer.
From my point of view, it's all frozen tundra up there.
You're like, map.
Anything north of Colorado is just frozen.
That's we don't want that. I'll tell you what we do want though. We want to take a look at who's going to be next, because there's nothing that just puts a jolt in your system like potential coaches that need to have the same thing happen to them. So we're going to take a look at some likely names for both the East and the West as we continue today's episode of Locked On NHL right after this. Today's episode of Locked On NHL is brought to you by FanDuel. The wild card round is here, and FanDuel is officially in playoff mode. Every game day during the NFL playoffs, FanDuel is giving customers even more ways to get in on the action. Because right now, every NFL playoff game, FanDuel users get a profit boost pack waiting for them inside the app. Each game day, you'll see a pack loaded with multiple profit boosts you can apply to the bets you like most. The boosts let you lean into your game day instincts, whether you're backing momentum, defense, quarterback play, or even coaching. Every play feels bigger, and the boosts make your bets feel that way too. You make your picks, then apply your points boost to go after even bigger payouts while the playoffs get rolling. So visit FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL, and grab your profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day. Welcome back to today's edition of Locked On NHL. We thank you for making Locked On NHL your first listen each and every day. Make sure to like and subscribe on all of your favorite audio platforms so you don't miss out on any new episodes throughout the week. And if you're looking for a little more for your Locked On listening experience, the Everydayer Club or Locked On All Access are just for you. The Everydayer Club gets you ad-free listening of all of your favorite Locked On shows. So head to your favorite show's show notes for the link to learn more. And with the All Access tier, you get additional content throughout the course of the week, plus the opportunity to interact one-on-one with your favorite Locked On NHL hosts. So make sure to check it out. Link in the show notes, the Everydayer Club and All Access. So let's take a look at some other names who could be next to go. And I've got a list here of the next coaches. We're going to stick to the East for now.
Yep.
Travis Green of the Ottawa Senators.
Let's start with that one, because that's an interesting one here. This team has definitely underperformed this season after making the playoffs last year. You've also not had your captain for a good chunk of the season with Brady Tkachuk. You've also not had your star goalie, Elias Ullmark, who's been away with personal reasons. And then, of course, there's whatever else is going on with that situation that I don't think we'll get into. I think he still has, especially after getting into the playoffs last year, I think he still has some runway here. Like if they don't start to turn if they don't make the playoffs this year, then maybe it's a conversation after the season. But I think he still has some runway and some goodwill after making the playoffs, especially when you break a drought of that long. So
I would think the goodwill has lessened somewhat. Yeah. Considering all of I know, and again, we're not going to get into the whole situation, but Having your ownership group put out a statement in the manner that the Senators did,
it's not a good look for anybody.
Yeah, that's like when the parent talks to the principal and then tells the kid, "I'll talk to you later."
Yeah, not a good look.
So you could make the case that if this season spirals and it just feels like there's kind of a weird vibe in the locker room.
But that feels like an off-season type of move to me, though. That's why I don't think he's next.
Yeah,
because I'm thinking more in season here, like if anybody. But yeah, I think definitely he's feeling the seat warm up a little bit. But I think that's an off-season move.
How about Craig Berube?
That one's tough. That one's tough because we've already seen, right? They did the coaching maneuver 101 where he fires the assistant coach, right? This team has started to kind of get things together here a little bit. They've won 3 in a row. They're 7-1-2 in their last 10, but they're still they're 7 points behind the Canadiens for third spot in the Atlantic, and they're a point out of the wild card spot here with games in hand, which is good to see. But Toronto team is not like we're not trying to make the wild card here. We're expected to make a deep playoff run, and I know again the goaltending has been hit or miss because of all the injuries, but I think he saved his job with the team's recent play right now. So, and with Austin Matthews starting to kind of figure things out, I think it's cooled down. We'll say it's definitely cooled down.
Better late than never.
Austin Matthews coming back.
This is an interesting one. Lindy Ruff.
Oof. I think he's safe. I think that they're firmly in a playoff spot right now. They're won 11 games in a row. I think they've ever since Jarmo Kekalainen took over, this team has just got a new identity. Whatever it is, I think they're safe right now.
Yeah, I don't get the sense. I think you give Lindy, considering what he has done in the NHL, unless this goes just insanely like kittywampus the rest of the season.
Yeah,
I think you let him make the choice as to when he goes.
Yeah,
like I don't think they're gonna pull the plug on him, considering what he did for the city of Buffalo, coming back to try to kind of get the team back.
And if they make the playoffs and break that drought,
if they make the playoffs, he's getting a statue.
Build a statue.
No two ways about it. You had another one that I thought was interesting in the East that was not listed amongst the. Well, there are two more that we need to discuss.
Yes.
Mike Sullivan of the New York Rangers.
This was like their big offseason move, right? Like, we fixed it, guys. I know, the coaching hasn't been great. We got Mike Sullivan. He's Stanley Cup pedigree. I know things in Pittsburgh haven't been going great, but look at the roster over there. We got Mike Sullivan. Look at where both these franchises are now. The Pittsburgh Penguins, who are 51 points and a point behind the wild card, a team that a lot of us thought would be in contention for Gavin McKenna this year. And the New York Rangers, who has won, I think, 5 games at home or something like that, 46 points this year. That would be drastic after 1 year. I think the GM is very much, Chris Drury is very much on the hot seat here. But if I'm Mike Sullivan, I'm maybe looking for some boxes.
You could very well have a situation where a new GM comes in and says, I don't want Mike Sullivan as my coach.
Very much so. You could very much so. I would, but yeah, it would be something for him to make it through a year, especially after that was their guy. They were Chris Drury's this is my guy. We're going to fix this thing. And then this team is worse.
Yeah.
Worse this year.
I don't know if I'm taking Chris Drury's advice on anything.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even take his advice on how to change a flat tire. He'd be like, well, you see the lug nuts, you just take one of those and you just plug it into the hole.
As hard as you can. You want to make sure, yeah.
That's not a tire jack. That's the air pump. Like,
yes.
I'm sorry, what?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there's one other one, obviously, Sheldon Keefe with the New Jersey Devils.
This one I think is the hottest out of the East Coast Eastern Conference, because I think it's going to come down to survival between Keefe and Fitzgerald, and I don't know if either one of them survive, let alone both of them survive at this point. I know the Devils won tonight, right? But you have the Dougie Hamilton situation, which is not a great look for anybody, and especially when it goes public like that, when you have the GM and the agent basically fighting for Pierre LeBrun. Good for Pierre LeBrun on that one, getting that out there. But I could see like Fitzgerald getting super desperate here, firing the coach to try to save his job. And then Fitzgerald getting fired this summer because the Devils underperform and that roster is needs some work. So he, out of all the Eastern Conference ones, I think he's the most likely next.
There is just such a weird vibe with that team too.
It's so weird.
It's radioactive, I think, is the way that I will describe it. But those are coaches who could be next in the East. We'll take a look at which coaches could be next in the West as we finish today's episode of Locked On NHL, coming right up after this.
New year, new systems. This is the time when a lot of us look at the messier parts of how we run our business and think there has to be a better way. And there is. Streamlining your communications is one of the quickest upgrades you can make. That's why today's episode is brought to you by Quo, spelled Quo, the smarter way to run your business communications. Because when your team is reachable, organized, and communicating in one place, you're not just working cleaner, you're creating more opportunities to connect with customers. Quo is great because your whole team can call and text from one shared business number, so nothing gets missed. Everyone sees the full conversation thread, which makes replies faster and more personal and works straight from your phone or computer. You can even keep your existing number. It's no surprise Quo is the #1 rated business phone system on G2, trusted by more than 90,000 businesses from solo operators to growing teams. Make this the year where no opportunity and no customer slips away. Try Quo for free, plus get 20% off your first 6 months when you go to quo.com/lockedonnhl. That's QUO.com/lockedonnhl. Quo. No missed calls, no missed customers.
Final segment of today's Locked On NHL. We thank you for making Locked On NHL your first listen each and every day. And we are looking now at some of the coaches in the West that might be next as far as the old quitting papers go. Or I guess firing papers in this point.
Pink slips?
Yeah, pink slips. There we go.
Or is that card thing? That's your, anyway, or both.
Multi-purpose. Multi-combo.
They only had one color paper back in the day, and there was all pink.
easy to separate everything.
Yes.
Some names.
No, I'm just thinking the Monsters Inc. thing when it's like the four to what when they're like all the colors. Like, what is? Yeah. Sorry.
What does this do me? Some names on the list of Western Conference coaches with the best odds to get fired, and right at the top of the list, Ryan Huska of the Calgary Flames.
I could see it, but we all kind of thought this Flame team was going to be bad anyway.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like they're like not living up to expectations. I think they're living up to exactly what we thought they were going to be. And I think a lot of us, myself included, looked at the team last year that was basically had Dustin Wolf drag them to almost a playoff spot. And we're like, how are they going to score goals? And then this season, they just can't score goals. So I can see it. This team is also, I think, going to be shipping out some pieces this year at the trade deadline. So I don't know. Yeah, maybe. I feel like it's a move just to make a move, kind of like the Columbus situation.
Yeah, I don't look at anything that has happened with Calgary and say, wow, I'm shocked by that.
Yeah,
like it's a roster. It's a roster that needs some help, and until they get said help, i.e., scoring, it's going to continue to happen.
Yep.
So I'm not up on that, I guess, as happening. Another interesting one is Andrew Brunette of the Predators.
I think he saved his job. Like that was I know he's been on the hot seat for a while here, but the Preds have been playing been kind of playing pretty well as of late. They haven't really given up. Like you're not seeing them getting like losing, 6-2 or like a lot. Like they're in most of their games. This team has kind of crawled back into it here. You're starting to see Stamkos do Stamkos things again. So I still think this team's going to be a big time seller at the deadline, but I don't think it's Brunette's fault for this team. I think it's more of just roster construction.
Other names on the list. I feel like Brunette was always Barry Trotz's guy, and so he's not going. Barry Trotz is not going to make that move unless he's told he has
to do it. Yeah, that's fair.
Unless it's you fire the coach or you're out the door.
Yep.
Another name on this list, Adam Foote.
Now, first time coach, we knew, and especially now that the Canucks have like after you sell Quinn Hughes, like exactly what you're doing.
Yeah.
I think he's safe. Kind of like Ryan Warsofsky last year, right? Where it's just like your job, especially like your job is just to try to kind of get as much as you can out of this roster, at least have it heading in the right direction, type of thing. So I like Adam Foote. I think and I don't see Canucks manage like ownership paying multiple coaches at the same. Yeah, that doesn't feel like a Canucks ownership thing.
Jim Montgomery.
I could see it.
Yeah,
this Blues team has been very much a very warm seat. And I know the GM is on his way out. But this Blues team has way underperformed after getting to the playoffs last year, and a team that we said feasted on a bunch of really bad teams after the trade deadline, and they got into the playoffs. Yes, they were, a second away from going to the second round, but this team is bad. The goaltending has been bad, and they look like an absolute, like they're going to be selling things. And I wouldn't be surprised too if Montgomery is on his way out.
Yeah, the vibe is just the vibe is just weird with this team as well. I mean, you've got so many different games where it's not like they're coming up like just short, like they're getting creamed.
Yeah, they have one of the worst goal differentials in the NHL this year. They're a minus. Actually, they have the worst goal differential. Sorry, minus 47 this year, and the Canucks are the only ones like within shouting distance at minus 40. This is a bad hockey team that gets crushed on a regular basis.
And it's especially plausible with having like your succession plan for the GM spot, that the GM comes in and is like, I kind of want my own guy.
I could see that. Yep.
Yeah,
I could see that.
I will throw I want to throw another name because I have a hot take to spin on the back end of this. I don't think the coach himself gets fired. The Anaheim Ducks.
No, Quenneville. No, he doesn't get fired. Like that was supposed to be your final piece, but go ahead.
I think Pat Verbeek is 100% gone in the offseason.
I could see. This is another one where I think that there's going to 100% be a power play behind the scenes here. Not that type of power play, but like where I think Quenneville basically goes and gets his guy. 100% see that. Yes.
I think Verbeek is gone, considering what this team has done the last couple of years, where they get off to these hot starts and they just mothball.
Yep.
I think he is as good as gone at this point. The other name that I wanted to discuss is Scott Arniel in Winnipeg.
This one, so I could see it, but Winnipeg ownership makes me worry, makes me think that they, because again, like you have to pay multiple coaches here.
Yeah.
But this team has gone from like literally the best team in the NHL last year to one of the worst teams. And it's just a horrific horrific. And I know Hellebuck's been injured for a little bit, but even before Hellebuck got, like, this team has nowhere performed up to expectations. I can see it, but I think Winnipeg ownership, I think they're a very patient group, as you can see, with how they kind of treat their players and keep their players around. And it's so hard to attract players, apparently, in Winnipeg. I can see it, but I think Winnipeg, I think they're too patient.
Yeah, I think he gets at least one more year to kind of, hey, pick this back up, or we'll call Keith. I almost called him Keith. Pete DeBoer. How's Pete DeBoer? That's right. Because that's the other thing too, is like any of these coaches that are like, it would be nice to, or we need to make a move.
Pete DeBoer just sitting there. Yeah.
You got Pete DeBoer on standby.
Yeah.
He's probably studying up on how to fix your particular team as we speak.
I
don't know what he's doing, but
yeah. Pete DeBoer. What a guy. All right. So
probably
who do you
not
think is
stabbing his goalie in the back.
that wouldn't be the first or last time. So he's just sharpening that blade. Who do you think is the next coach gone out of everybody? Who do you think is the next coach gone? And why is it Sheldon Keefe?
It's probably going to be Sheldon Keefe. Honestly, if this continues much longer, I could see Jim Montgomery going.
Jim guy, wild card guy that we didn't talk about, but I just want to mention Jim Hiller down in LA. I know the Kings fans not happy with him. That team, like they cannot generate offense to save their lives, and especially when you do see teams like the Sharks and the Ducks in your own state who are putting up, like just way more offense. I could see. Especially if they get trounced in the first round again by Edmonton, you could definitely see them potentially moving on. But that could also just be like this team is just not good enough. We might have to just start over type of situations. But I could see the coach maybe making a coach change here first. That's just somebody to keep an eye on there.
Yeah, there's going to be a couple more moves, and that will maybe finally.
Who do you think is the safest coach in the NHL?
John
Cooper.
I mean, probably
it's John Cooper, like that. Especially the Lightning right now are just rolling people. It's insane.
Yeah, I would say that or Jared Bednar.
Yeah, Bednar is pretty safe too.
But then again, like if they don't win the Stanley Cup this year.
That's good. That's a tough place to live. If you don't win the Stanley Cup, you're out. But I think it's between those two. Those two guys are pretty safe. But I think Cooper is like he's there as long as he wants to be there. So
he's got the blank number of years. They just say
basically until Nikita Kucherov, the wheels fall off Nikita Kucherov, and then he's like, "I'm out, guys.
I'm am done. I can't do this anymore."
Where do you think Cam Fowler will be coaching when he's done? The St. Louis Blues.
Clearly the Blues.
Is Cam Fowler going to be the next player coach? Ooh, we need more player coaches. Player coaches in the back.
Do we?
Cam, why did you play yourself 40 minutes tonight? Have you seen the rest of our defense?
Cam, you inserted yourself into power play 1 for the Blues, and the team went 0 for 7. Would you care to comment? I thought we had some good looks.
Yeah.
I thought I had some good looks.
Just didn't execute, guys.
That's going to do it for today's episode. Thank you, as always, for tuning in to Locked On NHL all throughout the week. Just one note that I'm sure will be on tomorrow's episode, just to kind of get you primed up. Braden Point left the game against for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Did not look good. So we'll see if we get an update, and I'm sure the fellas will have that for you coming up tomorrow. So make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any new episodes throughout the week. We got you covered every Monday through Friday as part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team each and every day.